Miller,
My friend,
the package you mentioned.
yes, I'm having a big holiday party and I need some fireworks. Okay, enough to wow people, all right?
Yeah, I've got to ask, what are you going to do with this?
Come on, Harry.
I know that you're cool, and I know that you pay and that you're reliable, but I do not want the heat blown
Yeah,
back
Harry,
at me
nothing
if
is
this thing
gonna
goes
link
wrong.
back to you, okay?
It better not.
Hey, listen to me. You just make sure you guys leave it in the dead drop like I told you, okay?
Sure.
Wait,
Okay.
you
Okay.
trust me, right, Harry? You do trust me?
Sure. Sure, I
Yeah,
trust you.
look at me. Look at me and tell me.
I trust you, David.
Good.
I
That's
trust
good.
you.
That's good.
My guy found your Max. He said that she showed up in a police report. The next day, that report disappeared.
I know, I told you I'd take care of things, okay?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I've got a wife, David. Yeah, I've got a daughter.
Me too.
It's Daddy.
Dada, I miss you.
Miss you too, babe.
I'm very tired. Can I have a bedtime story?
Yeah.
Can you tell me Rasputin
Rasputin?
again?
Oh, you mean Rumpelstiltskin?
Yes,
Okay.
that one.
Is Mama still there?
No, she went to her room.
I guess I'll speak to her later. Okay. So once upon a time there was a girl who had long, long blonde hair that people said looked like gold.
Can we give her a name?
Yeah, sure, why not? There was a girl called...
Emma, like Mama.
Okay, so Emma, she has long blonde hair. And she really wants to marry the prince. But she's just a farmer's daughter, right? Well, one day the king comes riding through her village to water his horses. And she hears about it, and so she urges her father to go to the king and boast about his daughter and her long, beautiful hair. And while he's doing that, she quickly throws on some of her best jewelry, but when her father stands before the king, he gets really nervous and he misspeaks and he tells the king that his daughter can spin straw into gold. And the king is intrigued. He asks the girl to confirm, is this true? Can you spin straw to gold? But she wants to win the king's favor, so Emma says, yes, I can spin gold from straw. But the king's no fool. So he decides to call her bluff and he proposes a challenge. If you can turn straw into gold, you may marry my son, the prince. But if not, you will be exiled, which means kicked out. Well, Emma, she's unable to refuse such an offer, so she accepts. And the king takes her to his castle and he locks her into one of his towers. And there in the tower room is a spinning wheel with a large pile of straw. And he says he'll return in the morning to see if she can actually spin this straw into gold. Well, Emma, she spends all night trying to think of some excuse or, clever way to get out of this situation. But as dawn approaches, nothing. She really starts to worry. And that is when a strange man appears. And he asks her if she has a wish. And she says, I wish to turn this straw into gold. And he says, I can do that, but you must give me your necklace. Well, the girl quickly takes off her necklace, and the imp sits at the spinning wheel, and he starts to spin, and he spins all of the straw into a large pile of golden thread. And then there's a knock at the door, and the imp disappears, and the king comes in, and he sees the small pile of gold, and he's amazed, but he's a little suspicious. So he moves the girl to a second tower, and this time there's a much larger pile of straw. Okay, and it's the same challenge. You spin that straw into gold, marry the prince. If not, you're kicked out of the kingdom. And yet again, just by morning, the girl, she waits, and again, there's nothing. She can't do it. But right then, that imp appears again. And this time, he asks for her ring. And so she gives him her ring. He sits down, he spins that much larger pile of straw into gold, and boom, disappears right at dawn, right before the king walks in, and he sees this larger pile of gold, and he's almost convinced. But for a final time, the king moves that girl to a third tower where there is a huge pile of straw. And he locks the door again. And yet again, just before dawn, that imp appears. But this time the girl, she doesn't have any jewelry to give him. What can she do? Well, the imp, he smiles and he tells her that if she will give him her firstborn child, then he will spin the straw into gold. Well, Emma, she has no option but to say yes. So the imp, he sits at the spinning wheel and he spins that huge pile of straw into golden thread. And he disappears right before dawn, and the king walks in and he opens the door, and the king is amazed. He says, I thought you were lying, but you are for real. And the very next day, the girl is married to the prince. And on her wedding day, she smiles wider than she's ever smiled before. And her hair shines like gold itself. And a year later, Princess Emma gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. And later that week, she's putting that little baby into a cot when suddenly that little man appears again, that imp, and he says, I have come for what is mine, the baby. And the princess, she begs and begs, and please, no, don't take my baby, I'll give you anything. She offers him all the riches in the kingdom. She offers him everything, but he refuses. So she gets on her knees and she pleads, please, please, I'll give you anything. And she says, okay, if you can guess my name, I will not take your baby. But if you cannot, the baby is mine. I will give you 3 guesses. And then he disappears. And the princess, she's terrified. So she calls in all of her staff and all the spies and the soldiers or anyone who has a horse to go and scour the kingdom to figure out this little imp's name. And the next day, the first spy returns and he tells her,
Daniel, like Mama's papa.
Okay, sure. Okay, Daniel. So the imp appears and he asks if she has a guess, and she says, Daniel? But the imp laughs. Wrong! 2 more guesses. And he disappears. And the very next day, another spy returns. But this time he says that he's heard villagers talking about a strange man who lives in the mountains. Now, his...
Rumpelstiltskin.
No, honey. That would end the story too soon. A little too soon.
I'm getting tired.
Okay. Well, okay, in that case, the spy returns and says Rumpelstiltskin is this strange man's name, and the princess waits in her room, and at midnight the imp arrives, and he says, now your second guess, and he cackles, and he's gonna rub in his hands, and the princess smiles and looks him in the eye, and she says, Rumpelstiltskin. And the imp is amazed. I mean, he's so surprised that he faints, like, right in front of her, and Emma has him arrested and thrown in the deepest, darkest dungeon, and she lives happily ever after, and the end.
That was a good story, but I am very sleepy now.
Good night. I love you. Hey.
I'm sorry for what happened. For all of it. I lied to everyone. The truth is gonna come out, but I need shit. I'm sorry for what happened. For all of it. I lied to so many people, and maybe the truth will come out and maybe it won't. But I need you to know that what I thought I was doing this whole time, I thought it was the right thing. I really did. And I wanted you and Albert to be proud of me. And that night that we spoke of, I did wait in the car. I counted for 5 minutes because you were right. I wanted to save you. And when the 5 minutes were up, I got out and I ran into that room, and I'll never forget your face. The way you looked more afraid of me than you did him, man. I've never been able to shake it. I want Albert to grow up thinking that I was a good man. Please. Even if you have to lie. And I want you to know that you were loved. Even if it wasn't a good man loving you. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something to make it right.
Hi. This is David Smith, or Miller, or Jones, or however you know me. I'm about to do something, and I needed to be clear why and what I'm doing. The Prospering Pipeline is a bad thing. And like a lot of bad things, government and corporations have let them happen. I mean, we've all let them happen. And strong men like me have let them happen. And I've done a lot of bad things. And I'm going to do something right now. Okay. Emma, you deserve a partner who's strong and good and real. And Ava, you are and you will always be something special. We're on a marathon now, Maxine. Not that matters. I want to dedicate this act to my children, Alba and Star. I only wish that the two of you grow up to find a world that's a little bit better than the one I'm leaving. Water is life.
I never watched the video David made, and I didn't attend the inquiry. I like to pretend that the bomb erased him in the past and in the present. It'll take a while for me to figure out how a real relationship works. But in the meantime, I keep busy, make a name for myself as a journalist for the Detroit Free Press. When I'm 37, I'll move in with a school teacher named Jaden who was born on the same day as me. Star never stops being special.
Mom is right. I am pretty special. And when I turn 18, my grandma will try to tell me about my dad, and I will stop her. Shush, Grandma, I'll say. I'm happy.
When we heard what David did, I took out my wedding ring and threw it into the ocean. I will never watch the video he left for us. I don't remarry. In a few years' time, I will decide I don't need to be a nurse anymore and will start teaching tennis to girls. I will stay fit and always look 10 years younger than I am. Alba will leave home at 18 and do exactly what she wants to do.
Mom is right. At 18, I will leave home and do exactly what I want to do. At 40, I will have a child of my own. I will write 100 names on pieces of paper and then put them in a bag and let her pick hers out.
I don't believe in karma, but after I shot that FBI agent, the market picks up and I end up selling my 2 apartments and making a profit. I briefly think about going back into real estate, but fuck that. Instead, I will move to New York and set up my own cam agency. We won't make much money, but we'll never lose much money either. And everyone will get paid what they're worth. And when I'm 40, I will release my first novel under my real name. It will be a success. And when I die at 84, the obituaries will remember me only as a novelist who wrote crime fiction with strong female leads. I hate that phrase and will turn in my grave.